Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Tower of God chapter 616 or season 3 episode 199, very close to episode 200 of season 3. And people have been really excited about this one, so I'm sure you want me to get straight to the reaction, so I'll try to speed run through the intro here, keep the intro a little short. There are a few things to mention, but not too many. I mentioned that people have been hyping this up, so that makes me think this is exciting. We're maybe actually gonna get to see some of the Ten Family flashback stuff, some of the Gastang memory stuff, as you know, all the memories and everything are flowing into him. Again, if people weren't typing it up, I would, I'm assuming that just because it's like, what other exciting thing is going to happen right now? It could be, somebody else big showing up. It could be Revolution doing something. But for people to be this excited, I really think it's Ten Family stuff. I especially, again, just given the context of the end of last chapter, because if people were not hyping that up, I would have maybe even thought that, okay, Gastang's just going to go, I have my memory now. Thanks. And then we just don't continue on with that thread for right now. Just like when Bomb got all the memories, we just don't know. We don't see it at this moment. But yeah, people have hyped it up, so I think we're actually finally going to get to see some stuff. And it leaves me to wonder, we don't know why or how much the Ten Family heads sealed their memories away, or even if the others really truly did. A lot of us are assuming they did because of the way it was worded. Is this something that's really just personal to Gastang and Traumerei, or does it extend to all of the 10 families? Is this stuff that happened while climbing? Is this stuff that happened during Genesis? Is this post-Genesis that something came up? Is it the Eurasia? It'd be so crazy if we see the Eurasia N incident. Is that this? Because that's had a profound effect on Gastang as a person. So it makes you wonder where exactly in the whole timeline of Tower of God this is going to end up if we do get to see the memories, or if the memories are even more than one specific thing. Maybe Gastang's thing and Traumerei's thing, maybe they're two different things for all that we know. There is that. And it makes me wonder, we're just probably getting Gastang's memories, his point of view, but maybe because Bomb also had the Leviathan memories, maybe Gastang will also see Traumerei's and we'll also get to see Traumerei's. It's possible, I guess. And a big thing is that Bomb was like, have you ever thought, Dumas? Have you ever thought that the family head shouldn't have these memories? And Dumas is like, what? What do you mean? He's a family head. He deserves the memories. But the book itself said, no, you're not worthy of these memories. So, juggling all of those different things, what could this be that it's something that Gastang maybe shouldn't know? Like there's a chance that, at least from Bomb's perspective, Gastang shouldn't have these memories. So what's that going to be? Also, again, just to speed run some less directly related things really quickly, Animosity in his reaction pointed out something I thought was interesting. We still don't really know the full Bellerir backstory, other than that he's from the Red Light District. Does that mean, what are the boss people? Is he, an illegitimate child of Gastang's? Because Gastang told Tiara that he was his illegitimate child. And Tiara's like, Cap. she calls BS on that immediately. Or is he like a clone creation thing of Gastang, much like the boss in Wangnan and Karaka are to Zahard, presumably? And if so, is that why he can retain his will within Enkidu? Because his body was taken over, but he retains his will. Is it because he has some sort of special connection to Gastang, and Gastang is one of the family heads? We know that Enkidu's abilities or contracts, even though taking over bodies isn't a part of the contract, we know that that doesn't really work on family heads or the pioneers, the trailblazers of the tower. So if that's the case, then is the connection to Gastang the reason that Bellerir's mind wasn't wiped out when he was taken over? That could potentially be the deal here. And really, I was talking with some of you about, arcs in Tower of God and everything, and so far the Sprout, talking about exciting things that could happen, like with these memories, The Sprouts so far, I think, has been weak. Just because, like, when I look back at the hotel, many arcs in Tower of God, like, I rated them on Discord and I rated the Sprout kind of low. So many arcs have, like, nothing that I don't like or barely anything that I don't like. Looking at the hotel was just good. I can't really think of much of anything that I didn't like during the hotel arc. And while I have really enjoyed the Sprout and I like so much about it, there have been things that I haven't really liked. But the thing that the Sprout really has going for it is potential, because there's so much. We could see this family head memory stuff. We could get flashbacks. And we have Revolution here who hasn't done anything yet. The boss is actually here on the boss's ship. We could have Yuan Danhua, who we haven't seen in forever. We don't know. We could see the other potential family head replacements, depending on how that wording is supposed to be taken. We could potentially see that this arc. Yurik and more members of Walhaixong we could, like, potentially see in the near future. We have Mircea on his way, and Mircea has Kelhelm and Jinsung and Garnak with him. Possibly Karaka as well, so we could get Karaka wrapped in with this Revolution and Daejang boss stuff. Yuhan Sung has kind of vanished. Plus, I've mentioned before, the characters that went to the, I never remember the proper name, Sol Hyang Won? Is that what it was? The snow forest, the fairy forest, whatever. The characters that went there, like, some of them I could see if, like, a Gus and Yule Love are like, okay, we're gonna stay out of this. But what else does Evankel have to do? And then there are characters like, haha, I know Paul's a bit of a meme, like, who's Paul? But characters like Paul or Berdych. Berdych's entire character has just been high ranker loyal to Yama, so why would they not want to be here in this battle where Yama's fighting? So, like, those characters that went to the Snow Forest or Fairy Forest, they also don't really have any reason to not show up. Plus, we've still got the Pobedao battleship. We still have a member in the Slay the Chess Pieces game from the Lopobia family that hasn't shown up. The Pobedao battleship, of course, has Vicente who could get involved, Arya who could get involved in the arc, Yule is there, and Yule, of course, is connected to the Revolution stuff. There's so much still to come that can still go on in this arc. Plus, what if the Eurasia family gets involved? We still don't know what the whole Irure bomb thing was all about, and the Eurasia family is really important to this end stuff. Blossom is really important to the Gastang stuff. So, is there any chance that they get involved in any way? We still don't know what Zahard, like actual Zahard himself, what his forces think of this war. He's not getting involved. He's letting the Lopobia family go after Pobedao. But with this war going on, with Revolution getting involved, do any of Zahard's forces show up? Do we even potentially get a Dory? Does Liboric come back into things? Because Liboric was a direct, like, close subordinate to Adori herself, and he's also probably Gastang's son, maybe Gastang's son. Like, given his extreme age, if he was already an adult and in a high position by the time of Genesis, given not only that, but also, again, just his insanely high position in Zahard's empire, it would make sense for him to potentially just be one of Gastang's oldest children. Like, there's so much that can still happen in the Sprout arc that it's absolutely insane. Like, how many things are being juggled just for this arc alone that Siu has basically already said. Like, Siu's basically already said, yeah, Yurik's coming. He's basically already said, yeah, the Daejang, the boss, is here. He said, oh yeah, Mircea is coming. We have these characters confirmed either here or coming here. We have two family heads here that haven't gone face to face here yet. And so many characters like Dumas and Proust and Lobanon and Kirin who are still up, who still, like, have things to do. That's crazy. There's just so much happening. The Enkidu Traumerei stuff still has so much left to go. And I think that's where I'm gonna stop talking about things and start reading the chapter, other than just really quick, just a couple seconds. Siu's gonna take a break. I don't know if it was this week or if it's gonna be next week, but Siu's taking a 1 week break, and people are like, oh no, does this mean a hiatus is incoming and stuff? And here's the thing. we're already way behind where we should be. Like, the official Korean release is like 4 weeks ahead of us, and that's not even counting FastPass stuff. And FastPass is way, way ahead of where it really should be. So we're like way behind where we should be on official releases, to be honest. So we have plenty of buffer there, but also the big thing that I feel, I've been doing Tower of God videos since 2016, and since 2016, basically, I have been saying CU needs to take like a week off every month or something. It's ridiculous how much Tower of God we get. Like, I'm used to reading manga. I cover tons of manga on the channel. They take breaks all the time. They put out chapters shorter than Tower of God, and they're still considered very overworked, and are very overworked. But then you look at CU, you look at Tower of God, and it's like, we have longer chapters than your typical weekly manga, usually a lot longer, very often a lot longer. I know CU has a team of assistants, but so do most mangaka. And in addition to that, when I started out doing these videos, I swear we used to have weeks off. Like occasionally, not often, stuff for like New Year's or Korean Thanksgiving. Now, CU doesn't even take those off. Aside from the hiatuses in the past like 3-4 years, we haven't had like any weeks off. It has been straight, even on holiday weeks, always Tower of God. And that's a ridiculous schedule, I feel like. I really feel like CU and his team like need more breaks. And again, if it was up to CU and CU was like, no, I want to do a chapter every single week, that's one thing. But again, hearing things from not just CU, but different manhwa creators, you know, blogs or social media or whatever, it just seems like they are really, really being worked extremely hard when they don't need to be, because I feel like not taking any weeks off is to the detriment of Tower of God in the long run. In the long run, I think it hurts the ability of the team to make the story the best that it can be, to not get more breaks. So I think it's a good thing that CU is taking a week off. I think he should get to take more weeks off. Again, if Tower of God was off for a week every single month, I think that would be a good thing. But, you know, I just wanted to give my thoughts on that and say that I think that manhwa creators are overworked. You know, not really a hot take. But either way, with the super long intro aside, I tried to not make it super long, but, you know, things ended up how they ended up. There'll be a timestamp at the bottom, as there always is. Let's just go ahead and start reading this week's chapter. We're starting off with someone saying Traumerei, Traumerei, and let me double check to make sure you can see the chapter before I continue. We have past Traumerei with the long hair and no mask. Traumerei. And that reminds me too, last week when we had that one panel of like Enkidu growing the horn and like his hair was longer on the one side of his head, I thought that he was going to eventually start looking like the young Traumerei that we saw like in the Name Hunt Station panel, and that was going to be like drawing parallels between Enkidu and Traumerei, using Gorodo's body to do so, since Gorodo looks so much like Traumerei, but, you know, then he took over Belerier and it didn't quite pan out. Traumerei. Hey, we have young Gustang looks wild here, young Gustang. Right after the 10 family heads finished climbing the tower. Okay, so this is right after they finished climbing, questionably Genesis. Genesis is when Zahard started forming his empire. So this could be like in the brief amount of time, we don't know how long it was actually, between the climb finishing and the empire being established. Why are you standing there staring out into space? Did you fall asleep or something? Pobadao Gustang. Oh, Gustang, when did you get here? A while ago, numbskull. What were you looking at? A flower. A flower. What for? That doesn't sound like you. You're more suited to things like fish, turtles, and octopi. But they're just so fascinating. What do you mean? I never planted or created these little things. They just come out of nowhere, put down roots, and bloom. Then before you know it, the whole area is full of flowers. I wonder, because he's talking about like not creating or planting them, but they show up. I wonder if, because when we had the flashback to the Icarus stuff, they were like new life sprouted up wherever we went. I wonder if that's related to that at all. I wonder if it's related at all to the nature god, or to the fact that flowers were supposed to exist here before humans. They go ahead and do whatever they want. Lopo be a Traumerei, regardless of how I feel. The most unnecessary title box ever. We already know who he is, and they've said his name a bunch in the chapter already. It's both irritating and amazing at the same time. And the flower's destroyed. Come on, let's go. He destroys it and walks away. You big jerk. Okay. Sorry, just taking it in. Season 3, Traumerei's Past 1. So, Traumerei's Past. And it seemed like from the book pages, Gaston was absorbing. So, I wonder if we are seeing what Gaston is seeing, or if we as an audience are just getting to see this. I would assume that Gaston is getting to see what we're seeing here. I would assume. When we were climbing the tower, it was unusual for us to be apart for even one day, but now none of us see each other very much. I don't really mind. At the moment, I'm enjoying building my own fishbowl. And then... Traitor. Traumerei's floating palace, earlier version of the later Lopobia battleship. So this is really, really cool. Sorry, I hope you can't hear the train horn in the background. It's being really, really noisy. But yeah, this is really cool because they used the floating palace translation. Like, if you remember in the earlier days of Tower of God, when they talk about, like, when Yuri visits Repalista at the beginning of Season 2, and it's like, oh, Zahard's 7th floating castle or whatever. But then they start saying battleship for some reason later on, like the Popodao battleship, the Lopobia battleship. That is still the word for, like, floating castle. I don't know why they changed it to battleship. Floating castle makes it makes more sense as a translation. Because I looked into it, because I was always so curious. I'm like, why are we calling these battleships? Is that what it actually says in Korean? And no, it is still kind of floating palace in Korean. So it's interesting that they're calling it floating palace here. And of course, this is what eventually becomes where the hotel was, where his tank was, that, you know, Bomb released all the Shin hail from. But Zahard interacts more with you than anyone else, Traumerei. Okay. Zahard's the king now. So this is during or even maybe slightly after Revolution. Or not Revolution, Genesis. This is like during or a little after Genesis. I just want to help. I know how busy he is. Is there something going on between you two that I should know about? Even if there is, I'm not obliged to tell you. Everything Zahard does is for our sake. So don't fight him about every little thing. And that includes the selection of princesses. Once I'm all settled in my new home, I'll try to have kids of my own. I don't understand what you see in that guy's bizarre ideas. Which is weird, because we were told that Gaston was the one who made the princess system in Floor of Death. Right? Or at least Gaston was really... Are we going to see... Maybe is that even what we're going to see here? Is Gaston going to get involved with how the princesses start to develop? And is that going to be a part of his guilt that causes him to seal his memories away? But also, we know that this is going to be before Eurasia N, or at least it should be, because we learned in Floor of Death. Again, unless... If CU retcons blog post stuff, I think it's fine, but I really don't think he should retcon actual in-canon, like, main story stuff. In the Floor of Death, we learned that the princess system had been around long enough for them to forget about the idea that it was to find a wife for Zahard to make an heir. The idea of that was already forgotten by the time that Eurasia N came around, because Eurasia N, that was like part of one of the things that she kind of dug up, uncovered. So it was around before Eurasia N. And what's that about having kids? Are you two getting along better again? Not at all. She's the same as always. So I guess, are we going to see whoever Traumerei's wife or lover is? Since that day, she's been on a different wavelength from us. Okay? And she's blonde. And I think being blonde is really interesting because almost all of the Lopobia have green hair, with the exception of Laura, Lafave, and Lilial. And Rashut, I guess. Rashut has blonde hair as well. Maybe she really is a lower creature, like Zahard says. Maybe she's not like us. If only I could change those foolish thoughts of hers as easily as I can control animals. And this is something I've been saying too. I forget what it was that somebody brought it up in terms of. Oh, I forget what it was related to, but control is a big thing for Traumerei's character. And I forget why I was bringing that up. Because the whole purpose of creating Wang Wang and Yasracha, the whole purpose of creating the Beastkin, is the Lopobia teamed up with the workshop to do an experiment to try to create humans who could be controlled. Because part of the tower's rules are that you can't control humans, so they made the Beastkin as an experiment to make humans who could be controlled. And aside from Wang Wang, because of the Fang, it worked. Traumerei could control them as an anima. He could control the Beastkin. And then that ability, because of the Fang and everything, passed on to like Wang Wang, Doom, Yasracha. And then, of course, Enkidu. I think it might have been talking about Enkidu is why I brought it up. Because Enkidu, I think, might also be a part of Traumerei's control thing. He tried to make a creature into a human because he wanted a human he could control. I think that's what it was. I was saying that Enkidu's situation is probably similar to the Beastkin situation. It's probably about Traumerei wanting to control people. So again, we're seeing even way back now, he's like, oh man, I love this person, but if only I could control them like I control animals. By the way, I spoke with the master from the workshop recently. The master? Why would you have to do anything to do, or why would you want to have anything to do with him? He's so eerie. Again, this is crazy, some Seth stuff. He said he didn't get around to giving you the present he promised you when you were climbing the tower. He asked if you needed anything. Is that right? Well, now that you mention it, there is something I've always wanted. No kidding. What is it? A creature that's nothing in and of itself. Is this going to be Enkidu, but can become anything? This does sound like Enkidu. I'd really like something like that. Huh? A few days later. I've sent you a creature that's nothing in and of itself, but can become anything you want. And maybe that's why he can take over other people's bodies. Take good care of it. From the Master, the Father of everything. An interesting way for Seth to sign. So Enkidu's original self is just the General Jelly Jiggler. It's just the jelly, not the head. This is it. This is the thing I asked for? After the creature was given to Traumerei by the workshop master. It was neglected in Traumerei's room for a very long time. So just like what happened, Traumerei's not very good at this. He tries to make it into a friend eventually, but he just neglects it for a while, just like he did with the Serpent Master, where Serpent Master was just locked away in that tank for a while. And then at some point, it became obsessed with following Traumerei everywhere, since he'd paid no attention to it. As the creature followed Traumerei throughout his palace, it developed its own unique ability. It learned to transform exactly into anyone it encountered. The creature could even imitate people's voice and behavior perfectly. That's crazy. And the fact that we're seeing this person, I wonder if they're actually going to be important at some point. And it's going to be like, wow, we saw this person all the way back here. Everyone who saw the creature was shocked by it, and said it made them uncomfortable. But not Traumerei. And it was only then that he realized that what the workshop master had meant when he said this was a creature that was nothing in and of itself, but can become anything. But what Traumerei really wanted was more than that. I want you to become human. What? Since you can turn yourself into anything, go ahead and become a real human being. But why? Why do you want me to be human? Because I'm lonely. And he walks away. And again, you're lonely, but you've just left it abandoned. Lonely? Traumerei. And Traumerei's also had a problem with leaving his own children abandoned. The guy's lonely, but he's constantly abandoning people, and I guess maybe it's because he just doesn't see these Tower-born people as people. Like what he was saying about Zahard, he sees them as lowly creatures. I see. He's lonely, just like me. After Traumerei said that, the creature decided to become human. According to the book where this story is recorded, Traumerei had several companions by his side while he climbed the tower. Okay, and we're seeing just these little glimpses. It's crazy. Whoever's at the far right looks nuts. With this orange hair and the bandages on the arms. And then we have somebody with darker skin and light hair that could look cool. Maybe that's Edwan at the far left. Many companions, in fact. Okay, so I like this. We're getting into, like, when Zahard and the Ten Family Heads climbed the tower, they had a lot of other teammates. We know Mircea was one of their teammates. We know Quadrado was one of their teammates. But I like that we're seeing he had a bunch of companions. But after their adventure came to an end, 2 of the Great 13 left the rest of the group because of a conflict of opinion. We're seeing V. Many of their helpers left with them and turned their backs on the remaining 11 people as well. Okay, so some of the others split off. Again, Mircea, of course, splitting off with V and Arlen. This was back when the 11 didn't refer to themselves as family heads yet. Or even they gradually began to grow apart from each other as they set out to achieve their own goals. Okay, I was getting hyped up because I didn't know if we were going to see any new ones, but we're just seeing Traumerei, Zahard, and Edwan. It was only much later that each established their own completely independent family. The creature made by the workshop master was aware of all this, so it thought to itself, Traumerei must be lonely because all of his companions left him. The real reason he wants me is to fill the empty space they left in their wake. And so, the creature prayed constantly to become human so that it could be Traumerei's new friend. It prayed out the window. I love the narrator perspective on this. I like that CU's doing this. We don't get to see the narrator perspective often in Tower of God, but it's usually like really good when we do. It very often is bomb stuff. This is a rare case of narrator perspective not being used for bomb. Maybe, potentially even the only, well, I'm sure there's been at least more than one. But this has got to be one of the extreme few times that narrator perspective is used for something other than bomb. It even prayed while stuck to the ceiling. Everywhere it went, the creature prayed nonstop. And then one day, a being appeared before the creature. The most transcendent being in the tower. What? I got chills. Head on. What is it that you wish for so desperately? Head on is an interesting one. Because Head on chooses people to climb as regulars. It's like, would he... We know he chooses people to climb as regulars, so you'd think, okay, does he choose Enkidu and have Enkidu climb as a regular and make it to the top? Or is he making plays other than that? Because we haven't really seen Head on making plays other than that, except for like maybe giving Akryung to Rachel, which means Head on is definitely involved in all of this revolution stuff. Because Head on is connected to Akryung and Rachel are part of Revolution. So Head on's wrapped into that somewhere, and if Revolution wants to work with Enkidu, we're trying to free him like Belarir was trying to do, then maybe it's because Head on sowed these seeds and prepared Enkidu for Revolution all this time ahead. You insignificant creature so eager to add meaning to your existence. Information about this transcendent being was already stored in the creature, so it knew that its prayers had been answered. Most supreme and transcendent being in the tower, I wish to become human. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do about that. It is so rare for us to see Head on. This is so nuts. This tower is a place designed for tests and trials. Accordingly, there's a strict division between human challengers and other non-human beings. Is that so? But don't be too disappointed. There's another way for special beings like you. What? You may not be anything in and of yourself, but you're capable of becoming anything. Although it's impossible for you to become an entirely new human being, there's no rule prohibiting you from becoming exactly like an existing human. All you must do," and when he smiles, "is steal the person's body." So Enkidu then has to steal a body and use it to climb as a regular. Once the creature agreed to this proposal, the transcendent being took the creature to a bloody hunting ground. Okay, this is all pretty nuts. This was a time of chaos, since no one was able to reach the top of the tower anymore. All the previously rising energy from challengers dissipated throughout the tower, resulting in countless secret and hidden organizations. That makes sense, because after the 13 warriors climbed, you wouldn't be able to climb without taking the test from the administrators, and you can't do that unless you're an irregular. So until Zahard set up the current system of climbing, no one could actually go up. Like with the Zahard Empire serving as kind of intermediary for the tests between the people taking the test, the regulars, and the administrators. Like, there would have been this part in time before that that system of climbing was established. Okay. One particular warrior who stood before them was named Enkidu. Okay, so Enkidu was actually a person that the creature took over. So I guess the creature isn't Enkidu because the creature is nothing. Enkidu is just the body that the creature used to climb the tower. And we see Enkidu as a wild man, sort of like the original Enkidu mythology stuff. He was by far the greatest warrior that they could see. Head-on pointed him out to the creature, and without the slightest hesitation, the creature took over Enkidu's body. A few months later, Traumerei. And we have the wolf. Battle with the ancient creatures. What is this? This actually kind of looks familiar. Why does this look familiar? This panel right here, this creature, I don't know what it is, but it looks familiar for some reason. We have the wolf, the badger, the odd-eyed cobra. I guess that might be the turtle that he's standing on. Traumerei notices Enkidu, and he stabs into it. Okay. It is the turtle he's standing on. I also like seeing Traumerei use the creatures that would eventually go to the branch heads. Long time no see. So we're seeing, like, not even, I was going to say original Enkidu, but not even original Enkidu. It's the body of original Enkidu, but still the soul, the mind of the creature. Traumerei. As this person walked toward Traumerei without any hesitation or explanation whatsoever, Traumerei understood immediately. This was the creature from his little fishbowl. "I've come to be your friend as you commanded me." He realized what had happened to him, and as Traumerei finally got what he wished for, "I see." A faint smile spread across his face. Welcome. Little did he know that this would be the start of yet another split. To be continued. I can't wait for more of this. I thought, oh, this is really cool. We're seeing Traumerei stuff. We're seeing Gastong stuff. That was incredible. But to get this real, full, like, Enkidu creature backstory is incredible. That was a really good backstory. That was really good, and I still don't think we're over. Because if this is what Gastong... Let me remove the filter so you can see the credits. If this is what Gastong is seeing, we still got more to see. You got to think. But we just got full Enkidu backstory. Not really full, but we got like the origins, which is so cool. That was really good. We got McSeth mentioning stuff. We got some more, some more early lore, like really, really, really early lore. Like this is, again, during or slightly after Genesis, which is just a bunch of craziness. at least when Enkidu was formed, I guess they said it took several months, so it wasn't that long. I was going to say at least when Enkidu was formed, Traumerei hadn't had kids yet. Or I guess maybe he had kids between the time he talked to Gaston and the time that he got the creature, but either way. But Traumerei was already with someone. Traumerei mentions a she that he planned to have kids with, and we see somebody with light-colored hair. I think it would be really, really, really cool if we're setting up this family tree where you've got whoever she is with Traumerei, and then they have Lobanon. If even in this flashback we get to see Lobanon's birth, that's crazy, that's nuts. Maybe Lobanon's the first kid, and then of course Lobanon's kids, Laura and maybe LaFave, if LaFave is child of Lobanon, mother of Catan, who also uses guns and is the grandchild of Lobanon. Because we know that Lobanon has one other child that we don't know about, and if LaFave's that other one, then again, they are rare blonde Lopobias with names that start with L. And then of course, Laura would then go on to have Lilial. So again, it'd be really, really cool if this is where we're going to get, like, even the birth of Lobanon or something. But Enkidu's, like, original self and backstory, I think is really, 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 really cool. I am starting to really like Enkidu, the creature. Everyone calls him Enkidu, so I'll continue to call him Enkidu, even though R.I.P. to original Enkidu who got his body taken over by the creature. You've had your entire identity taken by this General Jelly Jiggler. I think they're shaping up to be a character that I really, really, really like. Like, they've got some complex, interesting stuff going on. What a very, very good chapter. The past few chapters have been very good, but wow, that's impressive. And it's blowing my mind that I know people really hyped this stuff up. So I was expecting to get good stuff. I was expecting to get stuff that I loved. But I think this was even better than my expectations. And I don't want to let my expectations run too wild, but I feel like we still have more. I don't think we're going to jump straight back to the present, which just means, like, we get more Enkidu backstory. We get to maybe see what this split was. We get to see the tragedy of Traumerei and maybe of Gaston, because we still need to figure out Gaston's memories, maybe the other family heads. And I love that we're setting up how this all shook out, where I guess this is pre-V and Arlen. Maybe this is going to play into that split. Maybe this is going to play into V and Arlen stuff, because this is presumably pre-V and Arlen being, well, you know, V Kermitting sewer slide and Arlen leaving the tower. This is pre that, presumably. And I like that we got how it all worked out, where they were like, so there was this big group, they climbed the tower together. It wasn't just the main 13, but, you know, they needed the main 13, like when you needed Bomb in Season 1 to say, hey, let's take the second floor test to go to the next floor from the administrator, and the rest of the regulars could take it, but they had to be on a team with Bomb. They needed an irregular. And before Zahard's Empire set up the system, that's how climbing worked. So we had not just the 13 main ones that were needed by the administrators to climb, but also all of their teammates. And V and Arlen split off. And when they split off, they took some of the teammates with them. We know Mircea. We don't know who else could have been part of that. We could get some cool revelations of other really old characters. And then the 11 that remained, you know, started to get gradually more and more distant. Gaston doesn't seem to outright dislike Zahard, but at the same time, he isn't just like he seems like he didn't view Zahard as, oh, he's our great leader of the team, and he's just going to listen to anything Zahard says. It's not like he doesn't like him. They were still teammates, but he wasn't like crazy loyal. Meanwhile, Traumerei really has a deep respect for Zahard. Traumerei is really like, you know, everything Zahard does is in our best interest, so I trust him and I'll do what he asks. And that's, again, Traumerei mentions being lonely, and it's crazy how Traumerei uses and controls others, but is also kind of used and controlled by Zahard, who is kind of playing on his loneliness by being like, I have your best interest in mind, go do this for me, and Traumerei just accepts and does it. And Traumerei, again, he's like, oh, and again, is it Zahard messing with Traumerei's mind, being like, oh, you're alone because they're not people like us, they're just lowly creatures. And that's what's keeping, because really, like, Traumerei could have just sat and talked to his Jello. If it was just somebody to talk to, he could have sat and talked to his Jello. Again, he has he has somebody who he's in a relationship with, but he's distant from all of them. He's keeping them at arm's length, and he's like, oh, I'm so lonely, despite having all these people he could interact with. And is that because Zahard is just feeding him like, oh, they're not real people like us because they're not irregulars? Like, it makes me wonder if Zahard is just keeping Traumerei loyal to him, much like, again, how Traumerei is obsessed with controlling others. Or maybe it's just the deal that Traumerei's lonely because people are complex. People are unique, individual. They make their own decisions, and that's not what Traumerei wants. Traumerei wants somebody who will listen and do whatever he wants to do. And he's obsessed with this control. Again, he wanted the Beastkin, he wanted people who could be controlled. And again here, he's like, I want a creature that's nothing but can become anything, and then I want it to become a human because I'm lonely. He wants something where he has the power, where he can control the relationship. And again, we see it with Wang Wang, where Traumerei started to actually really start to care about Wang Wang, and then he gets pissed when Wang Wang cares about his family, and he's like, oh, you betrayed me by caring about your family, because even though Wang Wang was loyal, would always listen to whatever Traumerei wanted, and not because he could be controlled. Wang Wang was the one beastkin that couldn't be controlled, and he listened to Traumerei because he wanted to, because he loved him as a master. And yet Traumerei saw Wang Wang and was like, if you love people other than me, then, you know, you're not loyal to me. And any lack of control in a relationship just sends Traumerei off, you know? We're like, ah, man, these characters are so good. I'm excited to see what we have next week, but I'll end this here because I need to get this video up for you all, and I want to go watch everybody else's reactions. So thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction to it. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. Why did that creature look familiar, though? Have we seen something that looked like that before? Have we seen something that looked like that before? Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel, drop a super thanks down below if you want to. Or if you want to not just help support the channel, help me keep making videos, but also to get a shout out at the end of every video, to get One Piece videos a little bit early, then hit join down below to become a channel member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and channel members. Thank you so much to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, to Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, and JA, Cheriton students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardial. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited for what's to come. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time.